What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and today, my friends, I'm going to be showing you a build based around the Mantis exotic Marksman rifle. This thing is so much fun to use, especially during the reanimated global event, because it is all about getting those headshots. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, and remember, we are currently having a giveaway for a PlayStation 5. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on October 2nd of this year. We are going to jump right into the build. However, one thing I mention at the beginning of every build video I put together is I want to remind especially new and returning players that this is just a template. There are so many ways to run with a sniper build in this game, or marksman rifle, whatever you want to call it. However, the most important thing as always is to truly take your time, make a build your own. But you can see from this footage, this version of the build, you are one-tapping elite enemies, named enemies on heroic, and it is so much fun to use. One thing I want to mention as we start off is that you may not have certain pieces of gear for this build. However, throughout the build breakdown, I will give you different options. Now, starting with the specialization, you're going to want to use sharpshooter, and there are a bunch of reasons why. You're getting extra headshot damage, weapon stability. I mean, every time you're in a group, they are going to get an extra 10% headshot damage bonus whenever they're closer to NPCs than you are, which is pretty much all the time. You get extra armor and cover. And remember, regardless of which specialization you choose, always have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which weapon you have equipped. The primary weapon for this build is the Mantis Marksman rifle. It is an absolute monster. Now, this was a guaranteed drop in one of the previous seasonal reward tracks. And for those of you that may not have it, the good thing is that this is in the general loot pool, so you can farm for it anywhere the Marksman rifle is the targeted loot. I strongly recommend hitting up Countdown or the Summit. Now, the talent on this weapon is in plain sight. Your scoped view displays additional information about your enemies not targeting you. Headshots and weak points damage against enemies not targeting you are amplified by 50%. Headshot kills reset the cooldown of the decoy skill. This bonus will wait until the decoy goes on cooldown if currently active. My secondary for this build is the classic M1A rifle with the talent Boomerang, where critical hits have a 50% chance to return the bullet to the magazine. If a bullet is returned to the magazine, the next shot has a 40% increased damage bonus. Now, the reason I've chosen this weapon is because with the Mantis, you can't change your scoped view, so I like having a secondary that gives me a better, circle of awareness, so that way I can kind of see what's going on. The handgun for this build, I don't really touch at all. Moving on to the gear itself, I'm running 3 aces and 8s, 1 Providence, 1 Walker and Harris, and Sawyer's knee pads. And again, you may not have some of this gear. I will give you options as we go along. So starting off with the mask, it's the first pieces of aces and 8s, and I'm using 3 so I get that 15% marksman rifle damage and 30% headshot damage. And pretty much on all of these pieces of gear, I'm stacking headshot damage everywhere I can, because with this event and really with this version of the build, that is exactly what I'm aiming for. Moving on to the chest piece, it's the named Walker and Harris body armor chain killer. Once again, if you do not have it, farm Countdown and set your targeted loot to armor. Now, you can see it has a talent Perfect Headhunter. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of the killing blow's damage. Damage is capped to 800% of your weapon's damage. This is raised to 1250 if your headshot damage is greater than 150%. Now, for those of you that do not have this chest piece, in the meantime, I recommend using 1 piece of Araldi here, because you're going to get an extra 10% marksman rifle damage. You can roll the talent Headhunter onto it, and even though it's not perfect Headhunter, it still can easily get the job done. Next, we have the holster, which is a second piece of aces and 8s. Again, I'm trying to stack headshot damage everywhere I can. Moving on to the knee pads. These are Sawyer's knee pads, which is by far one of my favorite pieces of gear in the game because of the talent Stand Your Ground, where first of all, you can't be staggered by explosions, but secondly, it increases your total weapon damage by 3% each second you're not moving, and it stacks up to 10 times until you start moving again. Now, 2 things really quick in regard to the knee pads. First of all, for those of you that do not have this, you can farm for it anywhere the knee pad is a targeted loot. Again, Countdown, Summit, all that stuff. Now, in the meantime, I recommend using a second piece of Araldi, because that's going to give you an extra 15% headshot damage bonus as well. So again, if you don't have the chest piece, you put Araldi there, and you put a secondary piece in the knee pads in case you don't have Sawyer's. Next, we have the gloves, which is our final piece of aces and eights for this build, and as we make our way to the bag, we're using the name Providence Bag the Gift, which has the talent Perfect Vigilance, and that's going to increase your total weapon damage by 25%. However, taking damage disables this buff for 3 seconds, and if you do not have the named version of this bag, just grab a piece of Providence and put the talent Vigilance on there, because the only thing that's different between the named version and the unnamed version is a 1-second cooldown. So again, you're getting the same weapon damage bonus. However, the named version gives you a 3-second cooldown and the unnamed version gives you 4. Now for the skills for this build, I'm using the decoy because that comes into play with the talent on our Marksman rifle, and I'm also using the assault drone because it is a great distraction to NPC and puts out damage as well. Last but not least, we have the stats for this build. Now my crit hit chance and crit hit damage are very low. However, my headshot damage is 304.2%, so if you're anywhere close to these numbers, you should be totally good to go. And as I start to wrap this video up, this for me is just a really fun build to use during not only this event, but pretty much any time I just want to change up my gameplay. You know, I'm used to doing run and gun, things like that. But every once in a while, I like to sit back here, you know, do some damage from afar, and during this event, seeing those headshots are so much fun. I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm enjoying this build. I wanted to share it with you, and I hope you enjoy it as well. One thing I want to mention for those of you that may not be used to using the talent Headhunter or Perfect Headhunter is that you have to proc that talent by getting an initial headshot kill. So what I recommend doing, anytime you engage with NPCs, go for the red bars first. You should be able to one-tap them no problem with the headshot kill. Once you do, one-tapping everything else shouldn't be a problem at all. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family that we have at the channel. So as always, if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know in the comment section, as the main goal is to try to help out as many gamers as we can. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel, and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Moving south. There's a gate between you. It looks closed from here.
Agent, you'll need to find a way to open that gate.
Fuck, he's on me! Victor!